We'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. Join us there. You'll sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. You've got Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
The Discord lines are over at our Discord server, which you can visit at discord.lrn.fm.
They're chatting away in there.
They are. Discord.lrn.fm. So check that out, and also check out liberty.menu if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. You really need to go and put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu. You can list the business that you have, or if you got more than one business, list them all. Digital content you're the creator of, or an event that you might be an organizer or promoter for. You can list all of those things so other freedom-loving folks can find them and find you and maybe be your new customer. Liberty.menu will get you over there, and the site's free, so please enjoy that. There are some minor upgrades that you can purchase if you would like, but we can't give you a discount because the site, again, is free. You can use code FTL, though, and get a special Free Talk Live listener badge at liberty.menu. As we continue here, we've been talking about the targeting of folks who are just having a good time. People want to get together with other people. Hey, that's a shock. You think that's maybe something that people need at some level, is to actually be together with other people? Yeah. What do you think happens if you separate people from each other?
Oh, there's been studies. A study has shown right, isolation from other people drives people insane.
Yes, it's considered torture.
Literally, yeah.
And now that's the new normal.
Imagine being single during all of this and following the rules. I mean, must have been insane.
Like not being able to meet
and living
people
in a city
or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, even if you didn't want to follow the rules and you're single living in a city, good luck finding someone else who doesn't want to follow the rules. Because if you're in a city, I mean, we've heard from some of our listeners who are in places like Philadelphia, these big urban centers. We've got callers regularly from Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. You know, things are locked down. Yep. There's plywood boards over the windows and doors at what few businesses are actually open. You can't go out and, in a lot of cases, go anywhere on any kind of a date, but let alone the compliance rate amongst the mask-wearing folks is incredibly high within cities. Oh, yeah. And so, seriously, I am on a couple of dating apps, and it's not uncommon now for women to literally be wearing masks in their dating app photos.
Oh, I'm so, particularly when it comes to the social media known as Facebook, where people post up a picture of their face while wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? Well, it's not called Mask Book.
They're showing their compliance.
It's horrible enough that, I mean, some people probably need the mask, but that's just from a perspective of, oh, I think you're ugly, or, oh, I don't, you know what I mean? That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Attraction is a personal thing. But, outside of that, I don't understand. It's not called Mask Book. It's called Facebook. Yeah. And particularly for dating apps, there's no danger in showing your face.
Right.
And in fact, unless you're fugly, right, you probably want to show your face to get more dates, right? That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I heard somebody telling the story that somebody coughed in their Zoom meeting and somebody left the meeting because of it.
That's silly.
It's silly.
Yeah.
And back to the bit about, all of this, my point earlier was going to be that the thing that isn't talked about, except for, it seems, when I bring it up on this show, is that government has effectively shut down entertainment, right? And this is something, culture, right? Music, theater, live performance of any kind of art thing, dance, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff, gone, done.
It's even hard, I think, for people to find things like, yoga classes or jujitsu, for instance. You can't get out there and...
if you're concerned about a global pandemic, then you probably shouldn't get on a mat and get sweaty with some other
I'm talking about
person.
people who aren't concerned.
I know.
Okay.
Well, it's getting easier to do that now, but it was hard for a while.
It depends on where you are. Again, Mark, you can't just say it's easier because it's easier where you are from. In some places, it's actually getting harder. In some places in the United States, there are more restrictions coming in.
Where are they locking down more now than they were?
California is one of them. New Jersey, I think, is another.
California was locked down anyway.
No, dude, they undid some restrictions this summer, and then they ramped them back up again.
To where they were.
Or worse.
They went, psych.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, it's not getting better in a lot of places. Anyway.
Now, whenever I bring this up to, we'll say, a normal person, a person who is
the masking,
a complete the fact that government has ended entertainment.
Oh, that
right.
Okay,
so
yeah.
like just somebody I meet at a bar, restaurant, or something like that.
Right.
It's almost as if they've been scripted. They're doing things. Right. There's things going on. You can go to this drive-in concert. And so yes, these things are going on, but they're A, not profitable, B, unsustainable, C, you've put, every musician that has toured the United States, all the tours were canceled. All of them. Rock and roll is dead.
Every job associated with that tour over.
Yeah.
All the roadies.
The venues are closing. Right. The
promoters.
I saw a GoFundMe page or something. One of these, raise some money for like the roadies, right? The technicians, right? The sound guys and
We're
the people,
running out of beer
the
and Coke.
stage hands and all that kind of stuff. Because guess what? They've had no work since February.
Right.
So,
what's Van Morrison have to say about it?
Well, Van Morrison, this article is from TheGuardian.com. He blasts COVID gig limits as pseudoscience. He says he calls for live music to challenge social distancing rules.
Yes.
And he faces fan backlash, apparently.
Good.
He denounced the supposed pseudoscience around coronavirus and is attempting to rally musicians in a campaign to restore live music concerts with full capacity audiences. Can I get a round of applause, please?
Yeah.
Oh my! This is the first musician of any sort of popularity I'm aware of that has said, "No, we got to bring this back, guys.
Yeah.
We're losing our culture.
You're losing your music, which is one of the most important things. It brings people together."
Yeah. The 74-year-old Northern Irish singer launched a campaign to, quote, save live music, unquote, on his website, saying socially distanced gigs were not economically viable.
They're also dumb.
He says, I call on my fellow singers,
Lame.
musicians, writers, producers, promoters, and others in the industry to fight with me on this. Come forward, stand up, fight the pseudoscience, and speak up, he said. You're right. They are. Yeah, they are. They are dumb. They are lame.
Well, things can change in the world and preferences can change.
They will always change.
But I would say this is we don't have a society built for people being distanced by 6 feet. Church pews, venue, seats,
city buses.
Yeah, it just keeps on going, and it's as far as it goes. The idea is to get as many butts into whatever the venue is as possible, and so they have to, they pack people in tight, and I think the reasons they do it is in part to make it more exciting.
Yeah, you don't want to be in an empty theater. To some extent, it's nice if you're going into a movie theater and you're the only people in there. You get the whole theater to yourself. But and you don't want crying babies or whatever. But there's also something about seeing a movie with a large group of people. The laughter is more infectious. There's a different feel to it.
As a guy who played in the city of Seattle, many gigs.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than playing a gig in an incredibly large venue that holds, 600 people, and 25 people show up.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that same gig at a much smaller venue, those same 25 people show up.
Could have energy.
It's a party.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, it is... Yes, the closeness is a factor, right? And you want to have the appropriate venue for the appropriate number of people, and if you don't get that, it's going to suck.
Yep.
So...
True.
Morrison is due to play socially distanced gigs in England next month, but he said this did not signify agreement with restrictions to curb the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right, he's just trying to get a gig.
Yeah, he's just a working musician.
Right. Quote, this is not a sign of compliance or acceptance of the current state of affairs. This is to get my band up and running and out of the doldrums. This is also not the answer going forward. We need to be playing to full capacity audiences going forward. unquote.
Absolutely.
The Brown Eyed Girls songwriter said that Andrew Lloyd Webber appeared to be the only other person in the music business trying to get it back up and running. I'm not familiar with who Andrew Lloyd Webber is.
I've heard the name.
Composer, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Or pianist or something like that?
Yeah. So, again, I am so surprised. I mean, I'm so glad to see that somebody in the music industry is doing
refreshing.
this. But I'm so surprised that the other forms of art, that there aren't some, theater buffs, some movie people who are also feeling this same way that aren't speaking out. It's so surprising to me.
Well, as you said, there are some people who are not so happy with him over this, and he's old enough, probably to the point where he just doesn't care.
He's 74.
Yeah. 855-450 free. We can talk about that and take your calls coming up here. Hour 2's next. You can join us. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Touring the aftermath, I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. President Trump has spent the day in Louisiana and Texas in areas pummeled by Hurricane Laura. The president issuing a major disaster declaration, and FEMA is sending water and meals.
We're also assisting state and local officials to restore water to roughly 180,000 residents and to protect energy infrastructure. I want to thank the men and women of FEMA and the first responders and the law enforcement, which we love and we cherish and are doing a fantastic job.
Officials say most people heeded warnings and evacuated the area before Laura struck, but a 14-year-old girl was killed by a downed tree. President Trump says he probably will travel to Kenosha, Wisconsin, the scene of recent unrest following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, who's now paralyzed.
That's under investigation right now, and they'll be reporting back to me over the next 24 hours, 48 hours maybe max, and we'll have a comment about it.
Police say Blake fought with officers and had a knife he refused to drop. He remains hospitalized, but is expected to take part in a virtual court hearing next week, where his attorneys say he plans to plead not guilty to 3 domestic abuse-related criminal charges. Another milestone expected sometime this weekend, with the total number of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. expected to surpass 6 million.
But we did see some promising trends this week. The 7-day rolling average for confirmed cases, that's down about 38% from the summer peak in July. Hospitalizations, the average there also down.
Fox's Aisha Hosni. And the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is canceling briefings to Congress on any efforts to interfere in the upcoming election. The office cites concern over unauthorized disclosure of sensitive information investigation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Intelligence Chair Adam Schiff issued a statement condemning the decision. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's only halfway over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed.com is the #1 job site in the world because Indeed gets you the best people fast. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need. You can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. Plus, Indeed provides powerful tools to make your search that much easier. With 73% of online job seekers visiting Indeed each month, Indeed is going to get you the important hire you need, just like they have for over 3 million businesses. Right now, Indeed is offering our listeners a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Try Indeed out with a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Fox. This is their best offer available anywhere. Go right now to Indeed.com/Fox. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid through September 30th.
The U.S. Marshals Service reports 39 kids were recovered in Georgia over a 2-week period as part of Operation Not Forgotten. 9 suspects were arrested, facing charges for sex trafficking, kidnapping, and other crimes. U.S. Marshals Service Director Donald Washington.
I have children. I'm sure many of you do as well. These are not my kids, right? And these are not your kids, but actually they are our kids when it's all said and done.
Authorities say the missing children were at high risk for exploitation and abuse. Some suffered from medical and mental health conditions. A New York City man pleads guilty to his role in a scheme to manufacture counterfeit brand name clothing overseas, then sell the fakes in the U.S.
39-year-old Bernard Klein pled guilty this week to producing counterfeit clothing in China and Pakistan and shipping them to the U.S. with fake labels in 2018, including to the Rhode Island National Guard, a violation of federal law. A second man, 50-year-old Ramin Cohenbash, has also pled guilty in the scheme. Both men are set to be sentenced in December and January. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
There's a final chance tonight for NASCAR Cup Series drivers to head to the playoffs at Daytona. Fox's Matt Napolitano with the story.
It's back to the traditional super speedway for Daytona for racing under the lights in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 this evening and the final race before the round of 16 in the Cup Series playoffs. William Byron has a 4-point lead on teammate and 7-time series champ Jimmy Johnson for the final spot in the next round.
Try to go out there, win stages, and see where that puts us.
Byron, Matt DiBenedetto, Clint Boyer hoping to lock down playoff berths today, but at Daytona, anyone can swoop in and clinch an automatic bid with a win. Green flag waves in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
And I'm Joe Chiera, Fox News.
It's The Onion Radio News. A family of 5 is found alive in the suburbs. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The Holzapfel family, long feared missing or spiritually dead, was found alive in the Chicago suburb of Buffalo Grove today, somehow managing to survive in the hostile environment for more than 8 years. Rescuers discovered the 5-person clan after a survey plane spotted a signal fire from a barbecue grill. To protect themselves from the elements during their long ordeal, the Holzapfels fashioned a 3-bedroom ranch-style lean-to with brick facing and white aluminum siding. Paramedic Mary Gills was first on the scene.
They were all suffering from severe cultural malnutrition.
The Holzapfels have been returned to civilization for now, though trips to the Art Institute of Chicago and a nice Peruvian restaurant intended to reacquaint them with urban living have been met with confusion and resistance. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the second hour here, live Saturday edition. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up what you want. We got a little bit more coming up on Van Morrison, the singer. You may remember some of his hits.
Biggest song is Brown Eyed Girl.
Brown Eyed Girl. I don't know what the other ones are.
Brown Eyed Girl.
Is there another one, or was he like a one hit?
He
had a few.
Yeah, he's been around for quite some time.
So he's got a lot to say on the subject of these ridiculous coronavirus crackdowns, lockdowns, restrictions that have, as you pointed out, Captain, you're a musician, they have destroyed the live performance industry, whether we're talking about music or comedy or whatever other
theater, whatever
thing to bring people together into a physical location. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch your play on Zoom. Not going to do it.
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't have the same kind of.
Yeah. It's not real. It's not the same. You cannot duplicate. Video is a good thing to have for the purpose of having a memory of a thing. It's like I actually had a guy who put the fireworks show on at Forkfest this year named Joel. He called me up today and to say thank you for recording video of the fireworks show that he did, which he's been doing for 42 years, and no one's ever recorded anything more than a quick clip with their phone or whatever, right? So he's never had the whole show actually recorded. So he thanked me for that, and I was like, well, it wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be. By no means am I a professional videographer. I'm pretty sure that there could have been some better settings on the camera, like manual settings that could have made it look better. But it is what it is, and I got it done, right? Yeah. So it was worth to him thanking me for it, and I appreciated that. But the videos, it's just a shadow of what the reality was.
And all these people are trying their best to sort of innovate and make it go as best they can. One of my
favorite, the drive-in thing.
Yeah, one of my favorite rock bands, Clutch, they recently did, for $9, you could have them streaming their live performance in their rehearsal studio to your living room, right? So I signed up for that. For an additional, I don't know, $20 or something, you get a T-shirt that says, hey, I watched this show or whatever. So they're trying to make it, they're trying to personalize it to that experience. And I did. I watched the show. It was broadcast live into my living room over the internet on my big screen TV. And while they're excellent performers and their sound quality was great, and for that type of a thing, it was probably probably one of the best quality things that you could get. Even during the show, they were lamenting about how it was weird, how there was no response, and there was no applause for them
energy.
To respond
There's
to,
nothing.
And that they were sort of working it out, and we hope that this ends, and all that kind of thing.
Oh, look, we got some thumbs up on Facebook. Wow.
Right.
That's I do a lot of public speaking, and without a crowd, I don't know how it would work. I don't even know how you can do it without having that kind of feedback.
Let me go to the phones here. We can share a little bit more about what some of the pushback has been against Van Morrison on the way and what he had to say about this. Jerome, though, is on the line to start things out here in hour number 2 on Charleston's WTMA. Go ahead, Jerome.
I just want to tell you, I don't care what you're saying. I'm wearing a mask and I'm social distancing at all time.
Awesome.
In your own home?
Do you think that's going to help you get Trump elected or not get elected or whatever?
Hey, Trump's trying to throw the election, okay?
Throw it.
Really?
Hey,
you think he wants Biden
Are you the one that's
elected?
on the website?
Huh?
Are you the one that's on the website?
Which website?
Didn't one of you say you was on a dating website?
Oh, yeah. I'm on a couple of those.
That's Ian, yeah.
Chicky bow wow.
What is that supposed to mean?
I know what kind of website that is.
What kind of website is it?
Hey, is it the same kind of website where Jerry Falwell Jr. met the pool boy?
This is a story funny. We haven't covered yet at all on Free Talk Live. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
So Jerry Falwell, listeners who don't know the name, maybe some of our younger listeners don't know the name. Jerry Falwell was like, is he still alive? The senior one?
Junior.
No. But I know we're going to get to the junior here. But
was he a televangelist?
Yeah, he was a huge televangelist and like a majorly influential, one of these ultra right wing conservative Christian types. They launched a university. Was he the 700 Club? Or there was that Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson's another one. So hold on, Jerome. I'm trying to recap the story here. Okay, hold on. So because we haven't talked about this.
Having fun.
Yeah, me too. We haven't talked about this at all, and I haven't looked deeply into this story. But apparently, the son of Jerry Falwell, who was the president of what they call Liberty University, which is like a super Christian university somewhere, probably in the South. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah.
But
Virginia.
so this guy, Jerry Falwell Jr., has been accused by like his former pool boy and I think another guy who worked at his house of having sex with Falwell Jr.'s wife in front of Falwell. So basically that Falwell Jr. is a cuck, essentially. And
A what?
C-U-C-K, cuck. It is a term
What is that?
As I understand it, is a
It
man
comes from the
who-
word cuckold, and it means a man who can't do anything about his wife running around on him.
Oh, you younger generation, you.
That's not a new word.
Yeah, it's an old word.
That's an old word. And I think it also includes not only the people who don't do anything, Mark, but those who are turned on by it.
Well, I think that's the new meaning. I don't really even. Okay, pardon me if I don't understand all of this stuff, but you know, as I understood,
that's the reason he's sitting there in the room while the pool boy gives
Isn't that
it to
a
his
voyeur?
wife. No, a voyeur would be somebody who watches without being necessarily known, I think.
All right, whatever.
That's my understanding of that term. So like a peephole user.
What a story.
Yeah, so that's what Jerome was referring to with the Falwell thing. Sorry, go
You
ahead.
left out the fact that he's a big supporter of Donald.
Oh, yeah, of course.
J. Trump.
Well, you know
Because
Trump's a freak.
When you're a celebrity, they let you get away with it.
Well, Trump's a freak himself, right? You remember hearing about the allegations with the Russian prostitutes and doing things we can't talk about on the radio?
Yeah. That can't be true, can it?
It could totally be true. It could totally be true.
I couldn't believe. No, that's not true. He wouldn't do such a thing.
Oh, I think he probably would.
Well, if it's consenting adults, I guess
wife number
fine.
3. He loves his wives. Excuse me.
Well, now that's not to
Grammatical
say that there's
correction.
anything wrong with having more than one spouse. I mean, if somebody wants to be with 3 people or 4 people in a relationship, I think that's totally fine.
If they can make it go,
Yeah,
more power
good
to
luck.
them. You know,
Yeah, it's hard enough to be married to one woman, from what I can tell.
Right.
But hey, what about the comment? He's doing an interview with his daughter Ivanka, who his sister calls a mini Donald, and he said the interviewer asked him, "And what do you and your father have in common?" Oh, I would say this is his daughter's response. I would say golf and real estate. And then they asked him, "Well, what about you, Donald?" Oh, sex. Oh,
what?
This guy wants to go with his own daughter, man.
He actually said that?
How dirty as he is. Hey, can you be any dirtier than that?
When
I'm
was this
not
interview?
saying
Is
that-
this like an old interview or is this recent?
Yeah.
It's old, okay.
Yeah, this is an old interview.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for
Yeah.
the call, Jerome. I do appreciate hearing from you. Always entertaining. Thoughts, if you want to share them, you're welcome to do that. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I'm trying not to think about any of it.
Yeah, I'm currently thoughtless.
You know, I got to give Trump some credit for throwing the Republican convention on the White House lawn.
Okay.
That I don't think has ever been done before.
Why is that creditable?
I mean, that's a ballsy thing to do. To use the government property like that in just such a blatantly partisan manner, essentially, like we're just going to throw our convention on the White House lawn. And the Democrats already threw their convention, so it's not like they can be like, oh, we want to do that too.
Right.
They already threw theirs. And I think they only did it, I could be wrong on this, I think they only did it on the last day, so they had it somewhere. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they had it somewhere else, and then on the final day,
Yeah, there was the fort in Maryland that Pence was doing his stuff from.
Oh,
So
really?
where the 1812, the War of 1812, the Star Spangled Banner was written about this particular fort and the rocket's red glare. That one, they're actually talking about things flying at this fort.
Yeah.
So
just the brazenness.
As a partisan slight, I see your entertainment there, but
Just the brazenness factor.
Credit, I don't know.
I appreciate that kind of bravado, I guess.
It's funny.
Yeah, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Oh, and there was almost no masks in the crowd of 2000, which was nice to see. Yeah. We're coming up here in moments. You can join us. This is Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. U.S. Postal Service files a patent for new blockchain voting method. Warren Buffett changes his opinion on gold. Maybe Bitcoin is next. $6 billion Acon cryptocurrency city underway. Former Prudential CEO says now's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to Bitcoin.com's YouTube channel too.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Yep, it is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us if you want to talk on the radio about a thing.
Join us.
That you might find interesting, that we might find interesting, that hopefully our listeners will find interesting. You can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. It is time for you, if you have not done this yet, to go and get started in the world of cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, you really ought to go and learn about those. And Bitcoin.com will help you with that. They have a getting started area that keeps it simple. You can just watch a 2 or 3 minute long video and you'll get the basics of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin BTC. Once again, you can go to bitcoin.com. They also have a great news section over at news.bitcoin.com that allows you to keep up to date with what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency, and there's a lot going on. It is a very busy, growing section of the various different industries out there, and so we love keeping up with it here on Free Talk Live, and news.bitcoin.com is a great way to do that. We go to your phone calls and thoughts, and then more from Van Morrison, the singer, songwriter, he wants to get out there. He wants to perform. He's sick of this crap, this COVID crackdown, lockdown BS that's been going on for 6 months or whatever it is now. And he's sick of it, and he's saying other people need to stand up and be sick of it and do something about it, and throw a concert, throw a party. We'll tell you more about it, but first we got Mike in Colorado. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking my call. It means a lot. I had a comment, really quick on Falwell Jr. I just think it's kind of interesting whenever we hear about these, cases of religious leaders doing things like this. It's just interesting to note that it's usually the pillars of our society who are the ones that are doing these things behind the scenes. That are
the ones who are talking the most, the loudest about how family is so important. And that, you need to be good under the eyes of God and follow all these rules and restrictions. And then you find out that Falwell Jr. has been watching as the pool boy has sex with his wife for something like a decade.
It's an allegation at this point. I don't know that we know that it's true. I disagree with this notion. I think
it's coming from more than one person. But, and we don't know if it was true that...
Wait a second. I want to disagree. Okay.
Which part?
The idea that it's the religious people that are doing this. Look,
no,
there's perverts everywhere.
I'm not saying religious people are the only ones who are perverts.
The hypocrisy is delicious.
They're just the hypocritical ones.
Right.
They're the ones who want you to believe they're not doing that, and then it turns out that they are.
I get that the hypocrisy is delicious, but let's not overblow the case, because then you blow, you blow all your credibility when you do it. Snicker if you wish about this. It's funny. I get it. But, who cares, right? So there's perverts of all stripes, and so what?
Well, so what? Well, the answer to so what is because these people act like they aren't doing that. And they insist that you shouldn't do those things either. I believe it's
called self-righteousness.
Yeah. So what is shut the F up, you people, and leave us alone. Leave other people alone. Stop looking down your nose when you yourself are guilty of the very things that you claim to be against.
Yeah, but that's not what everybody is worried about. A lot of people are worried about this particular person, this particular religion that I dislike more than most. This adherent has done this thing. Well,
I'm sure you can find
I'm a religious
stories.
guy. I don't do this stuff. Fine.
It has nothing to do with one particular religion, Mark. It's just that.
You don't think the 14-year-old atheists on the internet are having a fine time with this simply because it's the?
I'm just saying.
What's the caller's
hypocrisy name? Probably exists in other religions. It's just that we see more Christians here in the United States as a percentage of the population. We're more likely to see the hypocrisy coming from them. If we were living in a Muslim place, we would probably see the same crap going on with Muslim clerics.
Caller, what's your axe to grind on this one?
Oh, nothing. I actually had a totally different subject to talk about. I just thought I would just make that quick point. But so actually, I had a comment and a question today. So
before you go on, Mike, I'm sorry. I got one more thing to say about this. It's not like we brought it up, Mark. I specifically avoided that particular story because it's like, oh, look, there's another Christian guy who got caught with his pants down. I left that one alone. Somebody called in about it, so we commented. Go ahead, Mike.
I apologize. Yeah.
No, you don't have to apologize. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I actually had a comment and question today. So actually an interesting story this past week. Scott Peterson death sentence overturned. The court cited the decision being, quote, while a court may dismiss a prospective juror as unqualified to sit on a capital case if the juror's views on capital punishment would substantially impair his or her ability to follow the law.
Okay, Scott Peterson, that name rings a bell.
Can I just finish my comment?
Well, can you tell me who Scott Peterson is? The name rings a bell, but I'm not remembering.
Sure. Well, let me just finish, and then I'll tell you who he is. So a juror may not be dismissed merely because he or she has expressed opposition to the death penalty as a general matter, the opinion states. So very interesting decision, and there's been a lot of discussion as to whether or not Mr. Peterson deserves a new trial. So, my question is, what is your opinion on the state Supreme Court's decision? And
first, which state was it, and who was Scott Peterson?
Yeah, so California, Scott Peterson was convicted of killing his wife and unborn child, Lacey Peterson.
Okay.
And this kind of is a big.
This was like a decade ago, right? This seems like an old
been some time.
Yeah, but this was a pretty big news story, and I just thought it would be kind of interesting to get your guys.
And the news was what about some juror? Maybe what was the news?
Right.
Though?
There was bias on the jury's end due to the death penalty, and that's kind of why this decision was overturned.
Yep.
But there's been a lot of discussion on should Scott Peterson get a new trial? Does he deserve a new trial?
And what were they? I'm sorry if I'm unclear on this. I apologize. What were they saying the bias was? Was it the jury was somehow biased against Scott or in favor of Scott because of whichever view they have on the death penalty? I'm not clear.
Right. So what it was, there was a questionnaire given to the panel of the jury that asked, do you have any religious views against the death penalty? Are you in favor for it or against it inherently or exherently kind of? And one or a number of the jurors marked yes to that question. That went kind of by the wayside, apparently, and that is the state Supreme Court's basis for overturning this. There has been a lot of
overturning his conviction. Basically,
his death sentence. He still has life in prison.
Yeah.
But I just thought I would get your guys' opinion on this because it's really an important issue, I think.
Right. So many states will exclude a person from serving on a jury if they do not believe in the death penalty. If, of course, they're dealing with the death penalty situation. And I've always found this to be a little strange. Suddenly your opinion as to the guilt or innocence of this person doesn't matter because you're, philosophically opposed to the death penalty. So that takes out of, this whole idea of a jury of the peers is tenuous at best because I don't know these people. They're not my peers. But then when you exclude some of my peers based on their philosophical belief, now what?
Is it only excluded if you're against the death penalty?
That's correct. You have to be for the death penalty. So it takes out a swath. And I would guess that sort of psychologically people that are for the death penalty are also more likely to believe a prosecutor's side of the case.
That would be my guess.
And by the way, felonies are felonies that are taken to trial. 2/3 of them are found guilty. So you would think that the people who are willing to take their cases to trial would be more likely to be innocent. But
our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE, whatever you want to talk about, whether it's the death penalty or the just pathetic state of entertainment in the world, it's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial in, toll free, the number here 855-450, free like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. I did look up this story that our last caller just brought up, the Scott Peterson reversal of his death sentence case, and the news here has made it a little more clear to me, because when I was listening to what he was saying, maybe I misheard him. I tried asking for clarification a couple times, and it just still wasn't working out in my mind. I'm like, well, why would a juror...
You decided to do your own research?
Yeah, like it didn't make sense. It sounded like the caller was saying one of the jurors on the case was against the death penalty,
right,
and that's the reason why the judge overturned it. That made no sense to me at all. According to the Modesto Bee story published, I think earlier today, the trial judge wrongly excluded 13 potential jurors who stated they were opposed to the death penalty because he didn't first determine whether they could put their beliefs aside and follow the law, according to a unanimous opinion by a higher court in California. So they reversed the death sentence in this particular case because the judge botched up the jury selection. So it wasn't that people who were against the death penalty were on his jury. They weren't. They were wrongfully excluded.
But I think that's generally done.
What is?
That people are excluded based on their opinion of the death penalty.
Yes, and they probably would have excluded them, but the judge... Well, they probably would have excluded them in the right way if they'd followed the rules. Like, they would have likely have been excluded, but what, according to this, happened was the judge didn't follow the procedure correctly.
Right, so it's a procedural error.
And this is, I find this to be a problem generally. So the idea that if you're asked, are you for or against the death penalty, that it's a bit of a nuanced question. And whereas you may be for the death penalty for only Hitler, right? Mm-hmm. And I use Hitler because he is the most hated person in recent history. And whereas everybody else should not get the death penalty, only Hitler. Are you then for the death penalty or are you against it? It sounds like to me like you're for it. So I am generally philosophically against the death penalty.
Right.
However, I must say when that Boston bomber kid was his death penalty was read out, in my mind while I was out of my mouth when I was driving the car, I said good. Because I just really hated that guy. He made a real mess of things, and what a crappy individual. So,
aren't there conspiracy theories about that, though?
Whatever, I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. They can call in about whatever nonsense they want.
In this case, this is the equivalent of a technicality.
Yes, because what they should have done, apparently, is for all the people who said they're against the death penalty, there's then a question that they're supposed to ask, which is to say, well, can you put your beliefs aside and follow the law?
Sure.
Meaning that will you put our system above your religious beliefs?
Well, there's a difference between guilt and the sentence. I mean...
But you have to understand that juries, in most places, do not determine the sentence.
Correct.
Only the jury can determine guilt or not. And so whether or not the death penalty may apply in a sentence could affect how a juror decides a case.
Sure, lots of things affect how jurors decide cases.
And what they want to make sure is that they don't put any jurors with any kind of conscience on the case.
All right, so if, let's say, your favorite color being pink correlated to you being less likely to find somebody guilty than if your favorite color is orange, right? So, if that information was known by prosecutors, then prosecutors asking the question, what's your favorite color, in my mind, should be excluded, because you don't want to put together a person more likely to convict. Simply, there are people out there that will convict simply because some prosecutor stands up and says he did it. There's these mind-numbed sycophants
Those are
out
the
there.
people they want on juries.
In many cases, they do, and I think that the state should have. It shouldn't be an equal playing field, because it's not an equal playing field in so much as if I go in, I could be sentenced to prison. If the prosecutor goes in, nothing changes in his life if he gets a not guilty plea. So they don't have the same stake in it. So, every advantage should be given to the defense, and the prosecution should not be able to exclude a single person from the jury.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
This is a government of, by, and for the people, and then you're going to let a prosecutor exclude people from the jury?
You should run for state rep, man. You'd have my vote.
Well, the state rep, what do they have to say about it?
I don't know. Is that even something that the reps can change, or is that
no idea.
The system and you can't change it? It's the Western court system, and that's just the way it is.
The criminal justice system in the United States is held up as the greatest in the world, and I don't know whether that's true or not, but if it is, it's a commentary on just how crappy criminal justice systems are across the globe.
Absolutely. We go to your calls, your thoughts. Scott is in North Carolina. Scott, listening online. Go ahead.
Yeah, just listening to a couple of things that were brought up.
Yes, sir.
First of all, about Trump using the lawn at the White House for a convention speech. People use government property every day. All incumbents use Air Force One. All the people who are out there campaigning who are already in office, like Kamala Harris, she's getting paid to be a senator, but they're never at their job when they're out campaigning. So everybody's using government property and government funds to do such things.
Sure.
It just is.
They've actually set the system up to actually fund their conventions, from what I understand.
How so?
To some extent.
Well, we know how corrupt the government is. But
they get
anyway,
subsidies.
And I think Trump's standing in the gap. That's why I support it.
You think he's making the government less corrupt?
Well, he already had his money made when he went there. Look at the rest of them; they got rich after they went there. There's a difference.
I got to say that's not a pleasant idea. That people that go to Congress are very likely to become millionaires.
Absolutely, all of them. And here's the other thing that I wanted to mention. I heard you talking about Falwell Jr.
Yeah.
This is just somebody that I knew. She is from North Carolina. Her husband was an NFL. He's now deceased. Her husband was an NFL player, and I knew this woman, and she
confided some things in me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that they were basically swingers. I'm not into that. It's not my thing. Never partook in that. She told me about it.
Just no thing.
Sorry about
She
that.
said that there was this place in Charlotte that all these people went to, and she said that people don't even realize some of the public officials and sports figures and all these people who are involved. She said there was this huge house, gated house in Charlotte, and they would go there, and she said these were like the VIPs from all over the Carolinas and the eastern United States would show up at this place for these huge swingers parties on the weekend at this big mansion outside of Charlotte. That's what she told me, and I won't get into it, but it was like professional sports figures, politicians, big names, public names, celebrities, and so it goes on, I think, a lot more than what people think.
Oh, I think you're right about that. And I don't care, like people can do whatever they want. It's their personal life. It's just when they talk down to other people about it. That's when I want to point it out. When you are saying don't do, and then you do the things you say to don't do, do as I say, not as I do. Yep. Those people, I just love pointing them out because it's BS. Thanks, Scott, for your call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Bob. He's on the line in Myrtle Beach listening to WRNN FM. Go ahead, Bob.
WRNN Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, great station. Go ahead.
Just two things real quick.
Yeah.
Down here we have a 5-star comedy club called the Comedy Cabana.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's been open since May 9th.
Excellent.
And they're selling out every night.
Wow.
And do they have to abide by any social distancing rules? Are they at full capacity?
We're at 50% capacity for Myrtle Beach, but we're not quite in Myrtle Beach. We're not quite in North Myrtle Beach. We're right in the middle, so we can have up to 50% of the crowd. We seat 180.
Okay.
90, that's good enough to pay a comic, right?
Yeah, Troy Thurgill was just here recently, yeah.
Who is it?
Troy Thurgill from Beverly Hills.
Yep.
I don't follow
But
the scene. Hang on with the second thing. Hang on, Bob. We'll bring it back for item number 2 with Bob in Myrtle Beach. Sounds like
I do love a good comedy club.
Sounds like
Comedy
he might
Cabana, he said.
In Myrtle Beach, yeah. Sounds like he might be somebody who works there.
He does have that sound, yes.
He says we.
Fine.
855-450, free like freedom. Glad to hear it, that there's something happening.
Warms my soul.
Out there. There's more coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
I'm here with Scott Useum, founder of OMG Tax. Tell us how your company helps our listeners out there who have a problem with the IRS.
My team of lawyers, enrolled agents, and licensed tax experts remove wage garnishments sometimes in the same day. We even have reduced the total debt some of our clients were required to pay through what is known as an offer in compromise.
Can you give us an example of somebody you help?
Oh, can I ever? We have taken a $500,000 liability with the IRS. Guess what? The client didn't pay a dime through the representation known as non-collectible status with the government.
If you owe the IRS more than $10,000 and you want to see if it's possible to pay a lot less, call OMG Tax right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. That's 800-486-8112.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was
kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You take control of the airwaves here. The number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
I am L. Captain Kickass.
And Mark.
And I want to say thanks to Mike Sayers, who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier. Mike contributes to the show via the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, which is a way for you to help us get Free Talk Live onto more radio stations around the United States. We have over 190 radio stations today, and we can have more. It's possible. There's probably at least 100 or so more that we can grab, maybe even 200. It just takes time, it takes effort, it takes money, and the AMP program helps us do that. So thanks to Mike Sayers for helping us with that. And you can join the AMP program just like Mike did over at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. As we go back to your calls and thoughts, Bob is in Myrtle Beach. He had a second point he said he wanted to make, so go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that when they were talking about all the grief and going around the country because the president announced his nomination or his acceptance of the speech on the White House lawn, and they forget that Ronald Reagan he did it from the White House.
Oh, did he really?
Jimmy Carter did it from the White House, and Franklin Roosevelt did it twice from the White House.
How about that? Now, was it at the convention or was it just an announcement?
No, Ronald Reagan announced it in the Oval Office. Jimmy Carter said in the Oval Office and said, I'm going to be running for president the second term.
So was this the first time then that it actually happened, in that it was at the Republican convention on the White House lawn? Had that ever happened before?
That's Republican convention. No, they did it before the convention.
No. So my question is, had they ever had the Republican convention on the White House lawn before? Because I believe this was the first time for that to happen.
Yeah, it was the first time. I'm a history teacher, but it was the first time that it was done on the White House lawn.
Right.
Because of the COVID. Ronald Reagan did it. If you remember, we had the war going on.
Ronald Reagan did what?
What war? The only war Reagan had was Grenada.
Well, there was a Cold War, but...
Oh.
Grenada. But Reagan just said, I'm going to be running for the president of the United States from the Oval Office.
Right. But he wasn't at the Republican National Convention.
There weren't fireworks over the Washington.
Did you see the fireworks?
Monument.
Did you see them? That they had fireworks?
So
it's quite a show.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some friends of mine that are diehard Yellow Dog Democrats that are, wetting themselves over this. And look, I don't know the legality. I don't know what the Holmes Act or whatever, the Hunt Act, whatever they're calling it. I don't remember what it is. I don't know what its relationship is to this, but by God, I'm confident that some lefty group will go ahead and file suit that'll either get through the courts or it won't based on this. I don't care. It doesn't make me upset.
Bob, thanks for the call tonight. I'm glad you brought up the fireworks because as soon as Trump was done speaking, they had a pretty intense set of fireworks that actually spelled the letters Trump 2020.
So amazing. I've never seen anything like that.
And I had to, of course, it was not lost on me that just moments before in the speech, Trump was talking trash about China and getting business out of China, and then they spent God knows how much money. Those fireworks weren't made in Pakistan, right? Right. They didn't make those fireworks in Grenada. Yeah. They made those fireworks in China. So God knows it must have been a million or two. I don't know what you spent for these kind of
It was the most expensive display I've ever seen.
Huge display of fireworks.
So Trump, in my opinion, is the most WWE president.
He was on it. He was on WWE.
Did he have exit music?
Well, of course. They had some, whatever America theme kind of.
All right. Because I know folks have, certain artists have said, hey, don't use my music, stuff like that.
Sure. But if you pay the ASCAP BMI fees, then, hey, you got your music out there. There's not much they can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was interesting, the Sean Hannity theme music, that "Let Freedom Ring." Like the song has
music girl.
Nothing. I don't remember who it is, but somebody is screaming it at the radio right now. But I've got it on my playlist. But I don't memorize these people's names. I'm sorry. But I mean, like, the song has nothing to do with sort of the way he employs it, but it really works for him. As far as the
listen to a show.
Intro.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We go to David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live, listening in, I guess, the Alamogordo area.
Yeah, K-I-N-N, cousin to K-E-N-N.
Welcome. What's on your mind?
Pilot friend of mine used to fly for Jerry Falwell, was one of Jerry Falwell's pilots.
The senior one or the junior one?
Well, the junior one, too, but when this was like, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So junior was really junior back then.
Right. I think he's what is he, in his 50s right now or something?
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like he's mid-50s or almost 60 or something like that.
These ministers with their private jets never cease to amaze me. I mean, like, it's talk about brazen, right?
Another friend of mine flew for Oral Roberts, and another one flew for Swaggart. So they all and then another one flew for Lowell Lundstrom, although he's a lesser one. Nobody really knows who he is.
So I mean, just saying that people who flew for these people is nice, but do they have any stories about the things that they saw while they were on those planes?
Well,
was Jesus their co-pilot?
They very well may, but they were rather Christian folk themselves, so they probably wouldn't have shared it with me if they had.
I gotcha. Because according to the allegations in this story, ABC News reporting that Jerry Falwell Jr. and his wife Becky had sex, or rather Becky had sex with, while Falwell Jr. watched.
Wait, her name is Becky?
Yeah, their pool boy, who is, I guess, 29 now, but this was some number of years ago. He contends that the spring of 2012, Becky Falwell began to flirt with him at the Miami hotel where he worked and invited him to a hotel room for sex, telling him her husband liked to watch. He said he soon met Falwell, a leading voice in Christian conservative politics, for the first time. Quote, Jerry was laying on the bed. He was drunk, and he was giggling. Unquote. He said the two men awkwardly discussed the parameters of the impending sexual encounter. He insisted that during the first encounter, he reassured Falwell that if the older man became uncomfortable, he would leave. Hey, he said he told Falwell anxiously, if at any point you get jealous or you want me to back off, just let me know and I'll walk out of here. Granda, which is the man's name, said Falwell reassured him, urging him to, quote, go for it. He enjoyed watching, said Granda, who told ABC News the sexual encounters continued multiple times a year until 2018 in hotels in Miami, New York, and at the Falwell's Virginia home. He said that they had told him during the first encounter they'd visited a swingers club in Miami the previous night, but they weren't comfortable. So,
well, I can't imagine. I mean, you wouldn't want to be famous going into one of those places.
Club, yeah.
So, my first question always is when I hear these sorts of
accusations.
accusations.
The Falwells denied the charges.
Right. Kind of proof do you have? Because if you don't have proof, you're just an a-hole on the internet, as far as I'm concerned. I think this is nonsense.
Oh, you don't believe it?
No.
Oh, it sounds totally plausible to me. What about you, Captain?
Is it plausible?
It sounds plausible, but I'm torn. I mean, I kind of don't care, but is there evidence? That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
That's the only question. When accusations are made, any person, I mean, like, this guy could be some ridiculous liar.
Okay, well, he did provide text messages, screenshots, and audio to corroborate his account, according to Reuters, and provided one of the audio tapes to ABC News, claiming that Falwell watched his wife's sexual trysts with the younger man from the corner of the room through video cameras. And so he says he's got texts, he's got screenshots.
There is some evidence.
Yep.
Is that good enough for you, Mark?
Well, only, I mean they're not providing.
You haven't read them yet.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them, but I would have to know what they say. I mean, screenshots of what?
Well, and what's the actual claim here? What's the scandal? I mean, it sounds like
just hypocrisy.
People doing voluntary things.
Yeah,
so.
The only scandal is the hypocrisy here, right? Like the Falwells aren't in government, right? So it's not like they're directly forcing their beliefs onto people, but these are the kind of people who would support things like outlawing gay sex. These are the kinds of people who would support prohibiting people from having
Say
sex
one thing, do
outside
another.
of marriage. These are the kind of people we're talking about. They run a conservative Christian university. And, they get behind the pulpit and they say one thing, and then they actually get caught doing the very things that they don't want people to do. I mean, this isn't what Jesus said to do, right? To, have sex with some strange pool boy in front of your husband. Is that something God is approving of in the Bible? I don't know. Thanks for the call, David. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So it's just fun to call these people out. And it does, according to this report at ABC News, it says the news organization Reuters, which published the explosive interview with him, had worked on the story for some time. So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can bring up what you want, take control of the airwaves. Falwell's claim he's trying to extort them, by the way. We're coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Seeing the damage for himself. I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. President Trump is on his way back to Washington after spending time in Louisiana and Texas touring damage from Hurricane Laura.
President Trump touring a neighborhood in Lake Charles, Louisiana, one of the hardest areas hit in that state. He also visited Texas. Tens of thousands of people still without power across Louisiana, at least a dozen fatalities between the two states. The president toured an emergency operations center in Orange, Texas. The president met with Governor Greg Abbott, other Lone Star State officials after having a briefing and meeting also with local members of the National Guard there.
Fox's David Spunt. Family members of Jacob Blake, the man shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin by police, led a march in the city today.
There was more than 500 people that marched to this rally to be able to call for justice, and that included with the Blake family and his father, who addressed the crowd with a lot of passion.
There's two justice systems. There's one for that white boy that walked down the street and murdered those two people and blew that other man's arm off. And then there is a justice system for mine.
Blake's dad was referring to 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, who allegedly shot 3 people, 2 fatally during protests Tuesday night.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. And the Trump administration has ended all in-person election security briefings to Congress. National Intelligence Director John Ratcliffe telling lawmakers that they will now be receiving only written updates about election security to help ensure the information is not misunderstood nor politicized. Several lawmakers were outraged by the decision and say the written updates are insufficient. President Trump says his administration got tired of sensitive election security information leaking on Capitol Hill. America is listening to Fox News.
Adjusting to a new normal means we need to be smart about how we do business. Thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com and kept their businesses running while avoiding trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand, and you'll never pay full price, with access to discounted rates you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every stamp and up to 62% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. Don't waste time at the post office or UPS store. Print official stamps and labels right from your home or office computer for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, just leave it for your mail carrier, schedule a free package pickup, or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
A lawsuit has been filed by the parents of an infant who died in the care of a babysitter while in military housing. Fox's Rachel Sutherland reports.
Anna and James Lobich are suing the U.S. government and Island Palm Communities, a privatized military housing company in Hawaii, over the death of their 7-month-old Abigail. The infant girl died last year after receiving an overdose of an antihistamine from a babysitter who was running an unauthorized child care business. The suit claims the Army and the community have failed to protect children from unreasonable risks of harm. The babysitter, Dixie Denise Villa, a Navy spouse, is charged with manslaughter. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
A suspect arrested for the March shooting deaths of a Fort Hood soldier and 2 others. Fox's Chris DeMail has more.
Bernard Morrow was nabbed by police Friday in Mississippi. The 21-year-old is jailed and is expected to be extradited to Texas. Bell County prosecutors have charged Morrow with capital murder, and bond is expected at $2 million. Police found the 3 bodies in an apartment back in March. Court records don't indicate whether Morrow has a lawyer who could speak on his behalf. Chris DeMail, Fox News.
Fans will be rocking out with Metallica at drive-in theaters throughout the country.
Metallica lights up drive-ins across North America with a recorded concert, a part of Encore's Drive-In Night series. The band is making sure the event feels like a real-life concert with 3 days grace as the opening act. It'll be their first show in almost a year, and it'll feature material off their latest album, S&M 2, a follow-up on their 1999 classic, which features the San Francisco Symphony. They're also commemorating the history of the moment with pandemic-themed merchandise. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
And I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News.
The push to legalize marijuana is gaining momentum. These prescription doobies will do a whole lot more than just give patients a case of the munchies. Proponents are piping up to say that medical marijuana can help patients with some of the chronic illnesses that have been majorly killing their buzz. Unfortunately, 36 U.S. states are still not a kind bud of the legalization argument. But in states that do have the plan, the results have been, well, pretty far out, man. Patients nationwide are bluntly asking state legislatures to finally mellow out so that they and their doctors can work jointly to stop the suffering that's making a hash of their lives.
So it's clearly an issue that means a lot to these patients.
So states shouldn't toke their time with this policy. We'd be upset if patients had to wait a long time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the third hour here. You can bring up anything you want, and all you have to do is dial toll-free to do that. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If we get the chance, we're going to come back to Van Morrison, who was on the attack against these ridiculous social distancing guidelines and COVID crackdowns, lockdowns. He's got a little bit more on that, or Captain, you have that story. We'll get into that coming up here. And yes, with you in the studio tonight on this live Saturday episode of Free Talk Live, you do have Ian,
the Captain,
and Mark.
We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts first, though. And people apparently want to talk about this Falwell situation because, well,
it's juicy.
It is juicy. People love a good sex scandal. They love it when these hypocrites, these religious right-wingers, get caught with their pants down, literally. In this particular case, you got a former...
If he wasn't in charge of a religious university, it wouldn't be a story.
It wouldn't be. Yeah, just be some other guy who had an affair or whatever, right? Well, actually, it's not an affair, but
there's perverts.
Something, weird. And that's fine. It's his business. It's his wife. They can do whatever they want with the pool boy. I don't care, but it's only interesting because of his position. Now, apparently he did make the statement that, or the claim is that this guy, the 29-year-old who is revealing all this to the Reuters news organization, is somehow extorting. And the man's name is Granda. He contends, quote, the truth is, or quote, the Falwells would have you believe I seduced Becky into an affair without Jerry's knowledge and then spent the intervening 7 years trying to extort them. He says the truth is they approached me. She invited me to their hotel room. They offered me an equity partnership in a property venture. They brought me on multiple trips and vacations, including to their family farm in Virginia, and as recently as last year, participated in video calls where Mrs. Falwell was naked and Jerry was watching. So let's go to Lori in Lynchburg, Virginia, listening to WLNI. Go ahead, Lori.
Hi, I live in Lynchburg.
Excellent.
And my heart is with Liberty and Thomas Road Baptist Church. I've followed Dr. Falwell's ministry for many years, and I'm alive. I am doing well because of the things I learned under that ministry. And I know so many people in this city that the same way. We're staunch supporters of Liberty and Thomas Road Baptist Church. And I want to say that Christians that love the Lord don't look down their noses at people that don't have the Lord, because we've been there. We are all sinners. We're forgiven sinners, and we just want everyone else to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, because we do, and we
the
know
pool
the
boy
fulfillment that makes in your life, and so. And the thing of it is, the devastation. This is not funny. This is not comedy.
It is hilarious.
Hearts are broken. People are broken-hearted.
They don't have to be broken-hearted. They could just be like, oh, well, they wanted to have sex with a pool boy. Whatever, and get over it.
I would say your relationship with God shouldn't be contingent on what someone else is doing and whatever sin they may fall into.
True.
And so, Jerry Falwell Jr. has that big name, and that's the reason that this story is blown up. But I would encourage everyone to not let this in any way affect however your religious beliefs are, and if it does affect your religious beliefs, perhaps that's an opportunity to look at what you believe and then restructure, because your relationship should be with God, and it should have nothing to do with Jerry Falwell.
Well, it has something to do with him because of the ministry, but you're right about what you're saying there. But what about the families? What about the people? What about the people that, like you say, are laughing and think this is funny? You don't think it's funny when there's a tornado or an earthquake and people die.
This is not the same
this is
thing.
not death, but their hearts are broken. And so I
why are their hearts broken? Well, hold on. Tell me a little bit more. Why are these people's hearts broken?
Well, because someone who we thought loved the Lord, and I believe they still do, has fallen. We don't want to see anybody fall into any kind of sin, whether they're Christian or not. But when a Christian
so you're saying it is sin? Is it sin? I mean, I don't know what all the rules are. I haven't read the Bible in full. But are you saying that it's
this is accusation?
Hold on. Well, let's presume that they're true. Okay, because again, there were some evidence in text messages and things like that. But let's presume they're true. Is it a sin for a married couple to bring the pool boy in for a little sex time?
Well, yes, sir.
Why?
I would say so.
It does say the marriage bed shall not be
man and wife. But it's going on all over the country, all over the world, actually.
Wait, aren't there people who have what's the word for more than one wife?
Polygamy.
Yeah, polygamy. Isn't that approved by God in some religions?
Polygamy?
Yeah.
Well, in some quote religions.
Quote
but
religions.
Not according to the Bible.
Well, I bet that Abraham
Bible.
Had 2 wives, didn't he? And Solomon had a whole bunch.
In the Bible too. There's lies written in the Bible too.
How convenient.
Right.
Now, who put the lies into the Bible?
Pardon me?
Well, you said there's lies in the Bible. Who put them in there?
Well, people lied in the Bible. People lied, but because they lied.
Are you saying the characters of the Bible told lies, or are you saying the Bible itself has lies in it?
The people, they weren't characters; they were actual people. But they told lies because they were humans and they sinned and they did wrong things.
Okay, so you're not saying the Bible itself told a lie somewhere.
I'm sorry?
You're not saying that the Bible itself was telling a lie.
No, the Bible is inerrant. It's fact. It's truth.
Okay, even though the Bible was written by men.
In the Bible, I'm sorry?
Even though the Bible was written by men, you believe it to be completely true?
Well, it's written by men that were carried by the Holy Spirit.
Which specific version of the Bible?
Years. Pardon me?
Which specific version of the Bible? There's thousands of different versions of the Bible, so which specific
the Holy
version?
Bible.
Well, I mean,
I don't think you have to be that specific, but I would say
there's
King
different
James,
translations. Okay.
New King James. There's other translations.
But didn't they mistranslate some things? I mean, you got to make some mistakes, right? I mean, it's not like it was written in English originally.
Well, no, but
didn't they get the name of the main character wrong? I thought I heard that somewhere. Wasn't his name Yeshua?
Yahweh, God.
Well, Jesus' name was Yeshua ben Yosef, and
well, maybe in another language, Jesus Christ in English. Speaking Bible, but I'm not. You need to talk to my pastor.
No, I don't think we do.
You need to talk to my pastor. But I have been a Christian for 48 years, so I've been following.
And
the Bible.
How are you? How are you so sure that being a Christian is the correct religion?
Well, because I have the Bible. I see that it's true, and Christ has worked in my life.
Okay.
And he saved my life, and he gives me joy. He gives me peace. He gives me strength. He gives me wisdom. He gives me courage. He gives me some memory.
And I would not want to take any of that away. And that's why I say that this situation is just, if true, and I don't know, there's never going to be a trial on this or whatever, but it seems like there's some evidence that has been put forward, if true, should be dismissed as, hey, some people who have fallen away from whatever their beliefs are, and just like all people, they're susceptible to the sins of the flesh, and fine and dandy. Right. We should go any further. Now, in the same vein, I think it's important that if we're going to dismiss this, that we should never pay attention. Like, the preacher should be nothing but a vessel for whatever the truth that comes from God is. Now, I don't think the Bible's any more relevant than whatever God's telling us right now. If there was revelation then, there's revelation now.
No.
Oh, she doesn't believe that.
Yeah, I reject
free
that.
to believe what you choose.
Thank you.
Yeah, and don't you believe that he'll go to hell?
Oh, heavens, no.
No. Where does everybody?
Junior?
No.
Are you
No, my co-host,
Who
Mark.
are you talking about?
My co-host. The gentleman
That
who...
he'll go to hell?
Yeah, don't you think that everybody who doesn't believe like you are going to burn forever?
Okay. Well, no, we're all born in sin. We're all on the road to hell the minute we're born, or before we're born, because we came from Adam and Eve, and we're all born sinners. And so but Christ came to save us. He came
nice story.
down and became.
I don't like that particular version of it. I don't feel like God would create me, spoiled and bad, and punish me for not accepting, whatever somebody's version of the truth is.
You didn't read the right book.
Yeah, I reject that. I think that God is a loving God, and I don't like the idea of eternal damnation. But I am a universalist, meaning everybody's going to go to heaven.
And thank you, Lori, for your call. We got time for you. If you want to join us here, it's Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the grain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Who's that?
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Oh, hey, the mics are on.
Mics are on, nobody's home.
We're doing a radio show here. Welcome to it. It's Free Talk Live, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Live Saturday episode with you tonight. It's Ian.
The captain.
And Mark.
And you can bring up anything that you want. Mark, I want you to tell me a little bit about Divi, which is one of the newer, easy-to-use cryptocurrencies out there we've been talking about.
Right. Divi is designed to be easy to use, and their hope is to make it as easy as possible. As a matter of fact, once they're completely up and running with the new wallet, which is currently in closed beta, you'll be able to send and receive money from around the world, seamlessly exchange between Bitcoin and Divi and whatever fiat currency you're using. They're going to hook up with Western Union being 200 countries from the start. But I just want to let listeners know that Free Talk Live's been advertising Divi for some time. From mid-March to mid-July, the value of Divi went up over 10 times. And, of course, Free Talk Live was promoting it in that time frame. Also, they had released that beta wallet that we're talking about, and there's been some other innovations in Divi. And obviously, nothing's stopping it from increasing in value again. In fact, that's their goal. So Divi's price jumped 10 times in correlation with their beta wallet. Now, I can't say that that was the reason, and I can't say that it's going to continue to go up. I can't say any of those things, but we're pretty happy here on Free Talk Live with our decision to accept Divi for advertising, and that's worked out quite well for us. As a matter of fact, we're going to be holding Divi for some time. So if you're interested, it's relatively easy to make money with Divi by starting a masternode or staking Divi. In fact, they have a lottery for people who stake the coin too. So opportunity has knocked here every day on Free Talk Live since last September. Will you answer? DiviProject.org. D-I-V-I. Divi is in division. DiviProject.org.
All right, we continue here. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. Earlier in the program tonight, we were focusing on people just trying to have a good time. People trying to either throw a party, as they're being arrested now for in California, in Hollywood Hills just this week. There's, of course, folks at universities, college campuses also trying to have fun, have a good time, get together, hang out, and they're being targeted, they're being shut down, they're being possibly arrested, getting their scholarships pulled and things like that. And then we got into a discussion involving Van Morrison, the singer-songwriter, Brown-Eyed Girl. Mm-hmm. He is in his 70s now, and he's speaking out against so-called social distancing, which, as I pointed out in a recent speech I gave at a Mask Freedom event here in Keene, is anything but social. Yes. It is, in point of fact, anti-social. And it is an oxymoron like military intelligence or jumbo shrimp. Yeah, and it sounds like Van Morrison is in agreement, and he says further that the people in the music industry need to be leading the way rather than cowering and doing what they're told. Right. They need to be throwing concerts and events and encouraging people to get out there and break these stupid rules. He's saying, hey, I am stepping up, and I'm calling on the rest of you in the industry to step up with me. Even though he hasn't been able to find a gig that doesn't have the social distancing rules applied to it. Because he was apologizing for having gigs in, what was it, London or something like that, where, look, if in a lot of these places, you can't book a gig in some sort of venue because all the venues are afraid of what the government gang is going to do. Now, on the other hand, if you could find a private property owner who's got some cojones, then you could, throw a stage up and bring people in and just have at it and see if they bring the helicopter SWAT team in like they did with the Utah raid back in 2005, a rave. I said raid, but they raided the rave that they had outdoors in the mountains with a full-on helicopter rappelling down SWAT team. Crazy, attack on these just ravers that wanted to have a good time. So this stuff's been going on for a long time, cracking down on people throwing parties. Because, back in the day, it was, oh yeah, you can throw your party, but you got to pay the gang.
Right.
If you haven't paid the gang, then the gang's going to come in there and they're going to bust your party up. That's the way it used to be. Now you can't even pay the gang. Now it's just no parties, period.
Now since we made the mistake long enough to pay the money to be able to have the party, now they decide whether or not you can have the party.
Right. So Van Morrison, was there more from that story?
Yeah, he had made a post on his website as well as his Facebook page saying all of these things, right? I call on the rest of the industry to help put a stop to this thing. We have to get, back to, venues at full capacity. It's ridiculous.
Lead the way. Speak up.
And so apparently no prominent artists or musicians have publicly backed his call to lift the restrictions on concerts, which he posted last Friday.
Was that Andrew Lloyd Webber? He mentioned Andrew Lloyd Webber.
He did, yes.
Did you look him up?
Yeah, he's a composer.
Okay.
Yes.
Cats.
So
I've heard of that.
Supposedly, outside of that guy, nobody has come forward publicly to back his call to lift these restrictions. The website administrators did not immediately respond on Monday to a Guardian request. That's who posted this article. For more details.
I can't wait until November 4th when all this COVID stuff's over with.
You don't actually believe that, do you?
I do believe that there's a correlation between people's adherence to the COVID rules and for whom they wish to vote.
What do you think's going to happen on November 5th?
I just don't think. I don't think that people will. I think people will stop this charade that this whole COVID thing is going to get Joe Biden elected.
Right. You're not saying that you think that the COVID crackdown is going to get rolled back and that things are going to be back to normal.
I think that they'll probably be, by then, I think that we'll be closer to back to normal, whatever normal might
be. I appreciate your optimism, but I see no evidence for that.
I'm skeptimistic.
Things are getting worse in that particular area, and I see no reason why.
I recall being basically all businesses being locked down and being locked in the house. So, no, things are not getting worse.
You were not locked in your house at any point in New Hampshire.
No, but in Florida, every business was shut down.
Some places have had some reopening.
And when I came back to New Hampshire, my favorite restaurants were not open. So, yes, things are better than they were. And
in some
it's
places
ridiculous to
are.
Suggest otherwise.
In some places, they are.
Sure.
In some places, they're not.
I'm not in those places.
Well, good for you. But for the people who are, they're still having a really crappy time.
Many of them are leaving, too. I mean, real estate market's hopping right now.
Well, that is a factor. I'm kind of waiting for the real estate market to fall, if you will.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen, but I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I'm sure it is in the places where people are leaving.
Yeah.
But more on the Morrison topic.
Just so happens they're coming here.
Yes.
So that's why the real estate market here is seeing prices shoot up.
Right, because this is an inexpensive market.
Well, it was.
Compared to the
it's getting more expensive now.
But on Van Morrison's Facebook page, self-professed Morrison fans gave a largely scathing response to his appeal for full-capacity audiences.
Hold on, before you get to that. So, Mark, I understand what you're saying here. You're saying that now you can go out to a restaurant, and so you feel like things are better.
Like that better, yeah.
And good for you. I'm glad. I, of course, was going out and getting takeout the entire time, but now you can go sit down in the restaurant.
Just getting takeout, too, sure.
So that's good. But at the time when the restaurants were closed, they didn't have all these mask mandates. Those are newer, right? So now in, for instance, Nashua, New Hampshire, and Keene, New Hampshire, and Plymouth, New Hampshire, and I believe a few more towns have signed on to this mask madness. Now there are mask mandates all over the place.
Yeah, I think that the mask thing
that's worse.
Kind of silly to wear a mask into a restaurant, sit down at a table, remove the mask so that you may eat and drink, sit there for an hour and a half.
Make sure you put it on before you go to the bathroom.
And then put the mask on to depart the restaurant. That is a pretty ridiculous rule. But
there's plenty more ridiculous rules.
If in order to go out and get a meal,
put a mask on before you get a haircut.
I put a piece of fabric over my face. Fine.
No, it's not fine. 855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. U.S. Postal Service files a patent for new blockchain voting method. Warren Buffett changes his opinion on gold. Maybe Bitcoin is next. $6 billion Acon cryptocurrency city underway. Former Prudential CEO says now's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to Bitcoin.com's YouTube channel, too. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the value soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Forkfest 2021. You can mark your calendars.
We're advertising that now, huh?
Yeah,
nice.
Got to get started early. Get people aware of when this is going to happen. Still, the where is the same. It's Rogers Campground, the beautiful Rogers Campground, which you got to visit for the first time this year.
It was great.
It was great. And you were there for what, 2 nights, 3? 4. 4 nights. All right, cool. And you had a good time at what was the 4th Forkfest. This next one in 2021 is going to be the 5th ForkFest, and it's going to be a good time. There's no cost to attend for a ticket price. You still have to pay for the camping site or the RV site, or if you want a motel room, they got a motel on site there as well. And what better way to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? And it really was. I thought it was a great move for ForkFest to be after the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year, because it coincided with, it ended on the Independence Day weekend.
Yes.
And the same thing will be true this coming year when Independence Day will be the Sunday, which will be the last day, and so the fireworks will be on Saturday the 3rd, is what I understand will be happening. So it'll still be the same setup, it's just the days are shifted by one day. So June 28th through July 4th, 2021. Go ahead and mark your calendar now. You can visit forkfest.party to learn more about the event. It's just a decentralized camping festival for liberty-minded folks, meaning that you can do what you want to do. You can create whatever you want other people to experience. So, Captain, you did this your first year at ForkFest, rather than just coming and kind of getting a lay of the land and hanging out.
Which was my original plan.
You put on a show.
Yeah, I was coerced to come out of retirement. And by coerced, I mean, I agreed to.
Yeah, I'm glad they twisted your arm, because you guys put on a great show. It was the first ever musical performance, I believe, that has ever happened at ForkFest.
It was fun.
And so it was something that was, Ari and I were talking after 2019. You were driving back. I think I was driving her back. I'm like, well, what were we missing? And I'm like, yeah, it's music. That's what we were missing, and you guys brought it, and you did an awesome job. I'm actually, just as we speak here tonight, just finished encoding video of the performance of your band, which, to be fair, you guys hadn't done that many practices together, but I thought it was a great show. Mark, you were there to watch it.
Yeah, it was
you seemed
good.
to have a good time
it was
there.
Quite good.
I'm just glad that we were able to do something.
Yeah.
And as near as I can tell, we may have been the only live music performance in New Hampshire on
certainly
the 4th
in the region.
of July.
Yeah.
I can't say that for sure. I'm sure maybe there were some other guys that had their equipment set up in their backyard, some sort of private, family only kind of thing where they performed kind of thing. But this was available to the public. So
yep. And anybody who was at the campground could go and see it. You didn't have to be there.
Everybody
for
at the campground had no choice but to hear it.
That's true. So check out forkfest.party. You can learn more about the event. Again, June 28th through July 4th, 2021. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. We've got David in San Francisco. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, the Captain, and Mark.
Yeah, how are you? As libertarians, I know you all don't really care for Social Security, but shortly after Trump finished his speech last night, he actually approved destroying Social Security.
How so?
Really? It's okay to withdraw the money that funds it. So
there's no money that funds Social Security.
America,
Who's withdrawing it?
Well, the headline says Trump administration allows deferral of Social Security tax. That's also called the payroll deduction.
Right.
So when you go to work with an official company and you get a W-2, you pay into it. It's not actually the employer that pays into it. He's supposed to take the money that he deducts from your check. And so now Trump is saying that it's okay for the employer to keep that money. You pay into it, the employer gets to keep it, and Social Security gets withered up.
How do you pay into it?
Now Trump has decided to officially, on a Friday evening, when the fewest people are paying attention to the news, Trump decides that it's okay to destroy Social Security.
So deferral means that you put it away to the side. Well, I can't say what what happened here. I haven't read an article on it, so I can't give you a libertarian stand on what occurred. I can say that the libertarians believe that you should be able to do what you want with your money rather than have supporting a government instituted Ponzi scheme. If you want to put money into Social Security and then get a payout at the end, then you should be able to do that. At the same time, you should be able to take your money and put it towards, private investment or hookers and blow.
All right, I've got the article here just so we can get this out. And David, stand on the line here in case you've got comments. Just to clarify what has happened, this according to Fox. The Trump administration has, as of Friday, allowed employers to suspend collection of some Social Security taxes. Although business groups don't like the idea and it may create potential headaches or political headaches for Republicans, Democrats are already saying it would undermine retirement benefits. The Treasury Department guidance came late in the day, less than 24 hours after the conclusion of the Republican National Convention. It allows employers to offer their workers a temporary deferral of the 6.2% payroll tax that employees pay into the Social Security Trust Fund for the rest of the year. So the time frame on the deferral would be till the end of 2020. The taxes owed would not be forgiven, however, and instead would come due in 2021. So what's the benefit exactly of that?
A whopping 6% more of my paycheck?
And then you still have to pay it later. So what's the benefit?
That's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It sounds like a way to get elected.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, structurally, you paid into it. You know, if you've got an official W-2 kind of job, and you paid into it. The employer didn't pay into it, but the employer gets to keep it.
Well, the employer does pay into Social Security.
Whether or not libertarians believe that
no, you're misunderstanding, David. They're saying the employer would be able to give their employees a deferral of the tax, meaning that the employer.
No, they're saying that the employer doesn't need to pay it into the fund. It's already withdrawn from your check.
That's not what they're saying.
How is it withdrawn from your check if you're able to get it, put back in? I mean, this is what basically they're saying.
They're saying they're going to pay the employees extra money till the end of the year. Is what I'm reading here.
No, that's not at all what it says.
Okay.
It says that the employers don't need to pay it in. And this goes back to, how everybody...
Well, then why would they be offering their workers that option? What would the benefit to the worker be?
There's no benefit to the worker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it says right here...
no retirement fund. In other words, if you're telling me that the employer is going to allow you to keep that in your paycheck, then the employee is supposed to pay that through again to their own Social Security account. But that's not what this article
Here's another
says.
story, this one from the Denver channel, so, just get a different source. This one says the IRS clarified Friday that companies will be obligated not to take Social Security taxes from paychecks starting next week, running through the end of the year. So I think you misunderstood this, David. Thank you for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
But either way, they're saying it's a deferral, not a forgiveness. So they're saying...
They're going to screw you in 2021 is what they're going to do.
Right, and they're saying that it's going to kick back in 2021, and you're going to have to pay back what would have been taken out for the rest of the year?
That's what it sounds like. Nearly all Americans...
Deferral doesn't mean forgiveness.
Right. So
nearly all Americans...
Then the amount coming out of your Social Security is going to double for the last half a year.
It says here that nearly all Americans are taxed 6.2% per check to go towards Social Security.
Right.
For now, barring action from Congress, most Americans will see larger paychecks through the end of the year.
By 6%.
The guidance is based on an executive order signed earlier this month by Trump in hopes of, quote, stimulating the economy.
So I'm going to see an extra $10 or something on my check.
I wouldn't dismiss this because people will vote for the president based on the price of gas at any given time. So when they're getting a few more bucks in their paycheck, $10 I think is rather low.
I'm being facetious,
yeah, I mean,
of course.
but this will be enough for, to take the family out to dinner. But it's only a deferral. It's not forgiveness, and I think everybody should remember that.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's the most important part.
If I pay 6% less out of my check or have it taken out of my check for the last 6 months,
next year.
Then next year they're going to take out 12% to make up for that. So why not just take it out
there's
anyway?
Going to be,
this is a stupid thing.
It's stupid.
Or
they won't take out 12%. They'll keep taking out the 6%, and then there'll just be a bill when you pay taxes.
Right.
855-450-FREE. You'll owe them, which of course is terrible. Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Attention radio listeners, have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You know, sometimes we get some very interesting stories brought up by our callers. I mean, we weren't going to talk about Jerry Falwell Jr. tonight, and somebody brought it up, and other people wanted to talk about it.
It's Free Talk Live.
Cool. That's the way the show's supposed to work. We also just had somebody bring up this story where apparently there's going to be a Social Security tax deferment happening apparently for the rest of the year. Now, there's two different stories out there. One of them says the Social Security Administration is saying that it'll be an option for employers to defer Social Security, the 6.2% that would normally be withheld from your paycheck. And remember, there's another like 6.5% that is also being withheld that they don't ever tell you about because it's like 12 or 13% total.
Right. Basically, the employers have to pay a certain amount, but they only have to pay it if they have the employee. So if they don't have the employee, they don't have to pay it, which means that basically that's money that would otherwise go to the employee.
So yeah, as a paycheck raise.
Well, they're paying that to have the employee.
Correct.
It's the cost
of having
the employee. It's just the employee's not getting it. Never seen it. Never heard of it.
Now they're probably not going to get it here either, but in this case, they will be getting an extra 6.2% through the end of the year. However, the IRS, according to this other story at the DenverChannel.com, is obligating. So the story at Fox News says that it is an option.
This says it's mandatory.
This says it's an obligation to not take the Social Security taxes from paychecks.
In my opinion, this is basically the withholding tax. It comes out of your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, the government would be more fiscally responsible if you had to pay whatever taxes you had to pay at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter or whatever. Because then you as the employer, you as the employer, you as the citizen, you as the voice in government that you are, the voter, you would know what you're paying in rather than this sort of clawing a little bit out of each paycheck.
Yeah, but the reason they do that is because people won't save it. And then
I was going to say, let's be clear, they take it. You don't pay it; they take it.
They take it because
you don't have any choice in the matter.
It's more effective for them to do it that way.
Right, and I think you should that it would be that
you want people to feel it. You want people to have to cut a check.
And
it would make people more politically responsible
if they did.
It'd make them angry,
right? Then they'd realize every program that they advocate for is going to has a cost to it.
Well, there was a little bit more here, and then we're going to get to a couple of your calls here, but I do want to share that the deferment, this according to the DenverChannel.com, is not an actual tax cut, and because the deferment was done by executive order rather than an act of Congress, the taxes will need to be paid back by April 30th of 2021. So all the extra money you get before the end of the year, they're going to tell you at tax time in 2021 that now you owe that back.
What I think they're telegraphing here, though, is that Trump would probably like to see that forgiven.
Well, that's the next statement here. Yeah. So the White House has said they would like to see the elimination of the Social Security payroll tax to be made permanent in an effort to lower Americans' tax burden. Now, if that's actually true, then I'm glad to hear that, and I hope that they can actually effect that change, which, of course, it's unlikely the Democrats would pass any kind of bill that would supply something like that.
This will put more pressure on them, though.
And of course, the makeup can change here in November, right? And that's, I think, what they're trying to encourage is people to say, oh, look what the Republicans are doing for you. Opponents say that eliminating the tax on Americans would make Social Security insolvent. Well, good. People need to learn how to save for their own retirement and not rely on the government, because we all know that the government can change the rules anytime they want to. You're not in a contract with Social Security. If they want to lessen the benefits that you get to zero, they can.
Right. Well, that much is true, but the government does have assets that it could sell to pay off Social Security should it wish to. Yeah. And the idea that, Social Security is going to collapse. I mean, don't forget the government does have assets that they could sell in order to make good on their promises. It's just that they don't care to make good on their promises.
They have no obligation to. You can't hold them responsible for Social Security if they don't pay it out to you.
Right.
You're not under contract with them. And even if you were, they'd be able to change the rules anyway.
Pray they don't change them any further.
Stephen Goss, the chief actuary for the Social Security Administration, told the Senate this week that a hypothetical bill that would make the tax deferment permanent would cause Social Security to no longer be able to make payments to beneficiaries by the middle of 2023. And according to the statistics here, if you make $30,000 a year, the elimination of these taxes would result in an extra $71 per paycheck every 2 weeks. And you could buy some Bitcoin with that.
Well, you could also send money into the Social Security Administration if you'd like. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to send your money to the government, they'll take it.
If you think this is a good idea, then by all means send them your money. But you understand how this works, and the way it works is a Ponzi scheme, and yes, it will collapse if people don't pay in.
Let's go to Andrew in Ohio, and eventually it's going to collapse anyway.
It's not a Ponzi scheme in so much as it is not voluntary. Ponzi schemes are voluntary scams. This is an involuntary one.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mark. Social Security and the Medicare tax, it's forced. It's a Ponzi scheme. You could choose to not join it, but you're forced into this. And when Social Security was enacted in 1935, life expectancy was 63 and age of eligibility was 65. So FDR basically, even though the tax wasn't that high, he still screwed all those people during the Depression.
Yeah, there's all kinds of interesting things you can point out about Social Security, like women live longer than men, whites live longer than blacks, poor people live, rich people live longer than poor people. So for
there's no lockbox.
Right,
that's a lie.
Right. There's
no money there.
There's 3 poor black men paying into Social Security to keep every rich white woman going.
Anything else,
The
Andrew?
thing about Medicare. This is from the Cato Institute. The average 2-earner couple pays about $150,000 over their lifetime in Medicare taxes and premiums, while collecting almost $450,000 in benefits.
Yeah, that's math that don't work.
It's not sustainable. And that last caller, you should ask them: do you want more? Do you deserve to be entitled to more money than you've paid into Social Security?
I think he would say yes. I mean, knowing that last caller, it's been a while since we've heard from him, but he's one of the most lefty callers that we have. Andrew, thanks for your call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Dustin. He's on the line in Kansas City. Dustin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, so I know you guys are on about 200 stations across the country, and you're on satellite channels. You're all over the place. And I always wanted to be affiliate number 200, so maybe I can be the honorary number 200. I finally took my station out of the mothballs and fired it back up here in Kansas City because you know, but other people might not know.
Is this the radio engineer, Dustin, that we met?
It is.
Okay.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it'd been on a couple places in California, and after I fled California, I hadn't fired it up yet. And, it was time, so I got some gear back together, and you're on the air here in the north side of Kansas City.
All right.
How many watts we blowing into Kansas City with?
It's the equivalent of about 10 right now, and it will get better, and I had to get the audio.
That's 10 watts more than they'll legally allow.
I believe we started in Liberty, Missouri at 6 watts.
That's true,
so.
Yeah, there's a couple of AMs around. I'm not competing with anyone. I'm just...
You're doing FM, right? It's FM tonight?
Yeah, I'm going 90.5 was the clear channel. It was open, and
you had set off the air. You didn't want to give too much information, but there you go.
Oh, no one's listening now. It covers about half a mile radius.
Where's the nearest FCC office?
Branch office.
Yeah.
Oh, right here in Kansas City.
Oh, well, all right.
You're not even going to make them run.
I know them.
Do you?
Yeah, the bottom line, government can't get anything right. So they're not worried about some little guy on FM that's not competing.
They've come to Keene, New Hampshire 5 times to shut down the transmitters.
Tell them you're
here.
broadcasting COVID and they won't get anywhere near you.
Yeah, I just start coughing.
COVID radio.
But you're the origin of this message that is antithetical to everything FCC is. So, I don't think I'm not worried. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, the FCC is becoming less and less relevant as time goes by. I mean, it hands out bans for Wi-Fi and these sorts of things. But, the idea that young people, that radio programs need to be censored on what they say and what they talk about because
so old.
Some young person, some little boy is sitting with a transistor radio up to his ear underneath his covers right now. Come on, be serious.
Yeah.
The same kid had he could go on anywhere he wanted on the internet on his tablet earlier today.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm using an internet stream, using the LRN.FM. People need to know that there's all these other shows available, and those are running the rest of the time when you're not live. And then I have it alternating if you're live, of course. And I have a free-to-air dish out back, but I haven't got it going yet. So I really was hoping, when I get that going, it'll just be on all the time.
Well, there's more information about that all over at LRN.FM, which is the Liberty Radio Network. And Dustin, thank you for your service. Definitely appreciate it. That's awesome. And out of time for tonight, but
community radio is great.
We'll be back tomorrow. You can join us online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out innercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.